Gotham Knights time. They did it. They really did it. They finally got around to the girl-on-girl love scene that they've clearly been building up to for several episodes now. It all went as predicted. Unlike when she kissed boys, this time Stephanie felt something.
So that's what it feels like.
Never mind that she's supposed to be, 15 years old? She's still in school uniform and she's cheating on her boyfriend. How romantic. Last episode, Turner, Batman's adopted son, shacked up with Joella, the Joker's daughter, on the floor of a school library.
Sorry, fine.
I'm not offended.
And the episode opens up in the aftermath of that, where we find out that they were at it for 12 hours. 12 hours! Not a bad effort from the young man. Have to doubt the realism of that, because if that really did happen, Joella would probably be walking funny for the next week. The way that they were going, his back would be knackered and they'd probably look like they'd both been in a war. And is this okay? Because my spidey senses are going off. This is an awful lot of sexualising minors going on here, and I don't want to go all puritanical. It's not rare for 15-year-olds or younger to have started to dabble in that sort of thing. They're young, they get curious, but for me, this is like a public swimming pool. You know how some pools will have the main pool and at the side a small pool for kids? You know what I'm saying? You leave that pool for the kids. Adults should not be coming along to dive bomb the kiddie pool. It's one thing if two 15-year-old kids kiss in a park, maybe even touch each other. It's another thing if a 40 or 50-year-old is watching them from the bushes and touching themselves. That's worrying. That's sinister. So I do have to raise the question, at what age does a writer have to be before it starts to get creepy that they're writing scenes and thinking about minors in this way? Maybe I'm being oversensitive, but Caroline Dreiss, who co-wrote this episode, is 42 years old, and for me, I think that's past the age where you should be thinking about 15-year-olds in this way. I think the show knows that they're on dodgy ground. If they didn't, they wouldn't have cast a 29-year-old as the 15-year-old schoolgirl. What do you viewers think? Maybe I'm out of touch. I'm genuinely interested. If there is a line, where is it? When Stephen King's It was published in 1986, he was around 40 years old, writing a story involving an intimate scene between a group of 11 and 12-year-olds. Does that cross the line? How about if the children had been 8? How about if Stephen King had also been 50 years old instead of 40? Does it make a difference if the writer is a man or a woman? At what point does it start to get creepy? Do you think there's a line at all? Is it okay for an author of any age to write stories involving relationships between minors of any age? Or should artists self-censor? Should governments censor art? And at what point does art become explicit material? Recently we had the event of a Florida school principal who lost their job after parents complained about the explicit nature of pictures of the Italian sculpture Michelangelo's David being shown in school to pupils. I had a friend laugh at the parents in this case, saying Michelangelo's David was clearly art and not explicit, to which I asked, OK, take Michelangelo's David, the same statue, but with one notable difference. In this difference, the statue has wood. Is that explicit, I asked. And I saw their face immediately changed, and they said yes. That would probably be explicit in that case. So again I asked, where is the line? Because at some point between David being floppy and not, that statue changed from art to explicit in this friend's view. So I welcome you to go to the comment section. I'm interested to hear what you have to say. Anyway, back to the episode of Gotham Knights, in which very little happens in retrospect. Only 2 episodes of this series are remaining, and the plot has slowed to a snail's pace. Most of the focus is on Harper and Stephanie's romance. We start off and Joella is walking around in her underwear, and I dread to think how old this character is supposed to be. Don't ask. It's Joella's birthday and she really needs some new underwear. Not because of what she spent the last 12 hours doing, but because that colour Yellow-green with white lace trim. Looks terrible with her bright red hair. Those clothes are really unflattering. Just everything clashes with everything else. Her skin tone, her hair, the bra, whatever those horrible granny pants are supposed to be. Is she wearing bloomers? Did she steal them from a Victorian museum? Get her some boy shorts or something. They're comfy and alarmingly hot at the same time. Or get her something like this if she wants poor Turner to have a heart attack. If you're going with that hair colour, you may as well just embrace the full goth. You're kind of committed anyway at that point. The problem is, she has a really awkward shade of red hair to match with. Deadname is also wandering around without a shirt on, and can you not? That's kind of disturbing. I don't want to get personal, but there's something very off-putting about that image. It's worse than the granny pants. On a side note, it is kind of weird how man nipples are fine to show, but woman nipples are explicit and have to be covered up. Even for breastfeeding, where the woman has a very good reason for them not to be covered. This is restricted in many places, but my kosher man nipples are a-okay to get out any time I fancy, just maybe not in a restaurant. And this is where we get silly again. Now, do you remember how just last episode Turner was dying of radiation poisoning and how they couldn't possibly take him to a doctor or have him seen in public because he was Gotham's most wanted, sought by the police for multiple murders, and if he got caught, the Owls would arrange an accident for him. He couldn't go out, but Joella, who was also wanted by the police, went out anyway to get him some onion soup. Well, today it's Joella's birthday, so they go out to a bar and get drunk. Don't you worry though, for they are undercover. Turner, Gotham's most wanted, is in disguise. He has a hat on. And they stay in the bar as Joella causes trouble, steals drinks, and they loudly talk about being wanted by the police. Yes, while the rest of the nights are gossiping about Turner and Joella and how they spent the last 12 hours, the two of them just sneak off and go to a bar, where Joella has arranged to meet her mum, who has just broke out of Arkham Asylum, and she's also keeping a very low profile by stabbing a guy in the hand in front of a room full of people. But they all drink and talk together, and somehow Turner gets served beer that looks horrible despite only being 15 and the subject of multiple manhunts. The bar probably needs to get rid of a load of Bud Light that they have left hanging around. Ooh, and Joella's mum is being played by the actress Lindy Booth. You may remember her getting killed in the film Wrong Turn. No, she was in American Psycho 2. Or she played the character of Dodger in the movie Cry Wolf. Don't remember that one either. How about Teenage Space Vampires? Earth Final Conflict? Oh fine. You maybe know her from probably her most notable role when she did a one-episode spot in the series Mutant X. Joella and Turner argue after he calls Joella's mum a con artist who's probably trying to scam them, which is a bold move after a night of passion with a new partner. Loudly insult their mum to their face. He's right though, her mum knows the woman at the bar and has been drugging his drinks so she can turn him into the police for the $10 million reward money, and then she abducts Harvey Dent. Joella goes off with her mum, finds out Harvey Dent is her father instead of the Joker, and her mum convinces Joella to shoot him using the bullet that Joella has been saving for the express purpose of shooting her father, and her mum just happens to have a revolver in just the right calibre. But Harvey Dent lives after Joella shoots him, square in the large owl coin. It's kind of hard to tell, but the bullet has a rim and looks something like a 9mm or a 45 ACP, and that coin stopping one of those, point blank, seems a gargantuan stretch, as does the fact that they cut away right after and Harvey Dent lives, so nobody even bothered to check if Harvey Dent was still breathing before they left. Meanwhile, we get a very bad explanation of why Lincoln March got stabbed in the back by the Talon a few episodes ago. One of his own men, apparently his wife, ordered it to distance him from the Owls. The Owls that nobody knew existed and everyone thought was a myth, and nobody even knew that he was a part of, apart from the other Owls, who knew anyway because he appeared with them on stage with his mask off in the next episode, and none of that makes any sense at all. And the rest of the night set out to rescue Turner. Deadname puts on his totally convincing cop cosplay outfit again, complete with the moustache, and Deadname, Harper and Stephanie outwit the 3 cops the GCP bothered to send to pick up the most wanted person in the city. And the episode closes out with Joella going off with her mum for more fun and hijinks, Deadname telling Turner how valuable he is to them, complete with squeaky high-pitched voice, which kind of came out of nowhere, as Turner and Deadname have barely even talked in the series up to now, but they still share a hug. Harper saves Stephanie from her evil drunk mother, then they dance and les up.
We're coming for them. We're coming for your children. We're coming for them. We're coming for them. We're coming for your children. We're coming for them.
Maybe it's time we set a little trap for Crystal Cove's knob stealer.
I'm a member of the Imperial Senate on a diplomatic mission.
You are part of the Rebel Alliance and a traitor. Take her away.
Well, Mike Hanlon, that I had to go, that I had to get cleaned up. Hell, yeah.